audio, if audio is live, so go on.
Okay. In the spirit of respect, authenticity, and reconciliation, the town of Slave Lake honors and acknowledges that we are situated on the traditional lands of Sawridge First Nation within Treaty 8 territory, home to Indigenous, Métis, and Inuit peoples who have occupied these lands since time immemorial. Councillor Gramlich.
I'd like to make a motion to add under after State of the Lake update from MLA Sinclair.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor for the addition to the agenda. Any further discussion? Call to question, those in favor. And that is carried. Councillor Hughes.
I move to adopt the agenda as amended.
Any further discussion? Call to question, those in favor. And that is carried. Next up, we have approval of previous meetings. Councillor Achoba.
I'd like to move to accept the minutes of previous council, July 7th, 2026, as presented.
Any further discussion? Call to question, those in favor. And that is carried. Councillor Bowes.
I'd like to adopt the minutes of previous council meetings from July 14th, 2026.
Okay,
Make a motion to.
Thank you. Motion on the floor. Any further discussion? Call to question, those in favor. And that is carried. All right, let's move right into our new business and reports, facility service levels and operating hours. Darcy, floor is yours.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight I am bringing forward information with the current service levels and operating hours for the town's recreation facilities, including the Legacy Centre, the Aquatic Centre, and the Multi-Rec Centre. Facility operating hours, the current operating hours for the Northern Lights Aquatic Centre and the MRC are structured around seasonal programming, community demand, rentals, school groups, and statutory holiday operations. The operating schedules within these hours are adjusted throughout the year to accommodate programming and demand. At the Aquatic Centre, our year-round hours are Monday to Thursday, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., Friday and Saturday, 10 a.m. to 9 p.m., and Sunday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. The Aquatic Centre hours remain consistent year-round. The schedule of programming and available pool activities is within these hours, and it changes seasonally. Friday mornings are sometimes adjusted when required to accommodate school groups or rental groups, and this has a limited impact on the overall operating schedule. Statutory holidays at the Aquatic Centre, we generally operate from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on stat holidays. Swimming lessons are offered on some stat holidays, and programming is adjusted to meet demand. The pool is closed New Year's Day and Christmas Day currently. Our annual pool shutdown, the typical cycle for shutdowns has previously been alternating between 4 weeks and 6 weeks. This year there'll be an 8-week shutdown for a planned project for the liner and inspections. The Multi-Rec Centre front desk hours in the winter from September 1st to April 30th are weekdays from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. and weekends from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And the front desk hours at the MRC for summer hours, which is May 1st to August 31st, is weekdays from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and weekends from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. The MRC generally operates from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on statutory holidays and is closed on Christmas Day, Thanksgiving Day, New Year's Day, and Easter Sunday. Additional information regarding facilities, the local junior hockey team has purchased approximately $12,000 worth of assets from the town for advertising purposes in the 26-27 season. This includes in-ice logos and wallboards. They have signed a lease contract for the use of one dressing room for the season, an ice user agreement, and secured the rental of the multi-purpose room for 20 home games and minimum 2 practices per week throughout the season. The multi-purpose room has been used for summer splash programming throughout this summer. And the Legacy Centre Elks Hall is used as bookings are received. We've promoted the facility through our socials and added a ghost kitchen option as well in 2026. Stage North books 6 shows throughout the year, and typically we have 2 to 3 rentals during summer months and 8 to 12 rentals during peak season, which is in winter months. Demand and scheduling. The current operating hours are generally meeting community demand. Staff continue to adapt programming and facility schedules within the established operating hours to respond to demand. Pool schedules are also adjusted around school groups and other programming requirements. And the Friday morning flexibility is required for school groups has not created a significant impact on overall service delivery. Christmas holiday closure. Administration recommends that the Aquatic Center and the MRC be closed on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and Boxing Day. The facilities historically operate within these closures, and current usage during these dates is low. The closure would provide staff with an appropriate holiday break and still allow essential facility checks and chemical monitoring to be completed when the pool and MRC are not open to the public. Discussion, the current facility operating model provides consistent year-round access to the Aquatic Center and while allowing programming to change within established hours. The MRC uses seasonal operating hours to reflect changes in facility use throughout the year. Based on the current demand, administration does not recommend changes to the regular operating hours at either facility. Statutory holiday operations continue to provide access when demand supports it, and rental demand is being accommodated through schedule adjustments within the available operating hours. We'll continue to monitor usage on stat holidays and assess as needed. The proposed Aquatic Center and MRC closure on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and Boxing Day would align operations with historically lower demand during this period and provide staff with a meaningful holiday break. Essential facility checks and chemical monitoring will continue during closures. So we have a couple options. Option one would be close Christmas Eve, Boxing Day at the NLAC and the MRC. And number two would be remain open until noon on Christmas Eve and open 10 to 6 on Boxing Day. The proposed Christmas holiday closure is expected to reduce staffing and operating requirements for the affected operating hours. Essential facility monitoring, including building checks and chemical checks, will still be required during the closure. There's no policy impacts. And facility schedules and holiday closures will be communicated to the public through the town's website, facility notices, social media, and regular customer communications. Program and rental schedules will continue to be updated as required. Making the slight change improves efficiencies around service delivery and promotes access, inclusion, and community connection. So administration recommends that council accept this report for information and approve the closure of the NLAC and MRC to the public on Christmas Eve and Boxing Day each year, with essential facility checks and chemical monitoring continuing during the closure.
Okay, thank you. And now open the floor to council for any questions on that. Councillor Hughes?
Thank you so much for the report. Just a random note that I made that I'm very curious about. Hopefully you can just explain further. What exactly is the ghost kitchen? What does that mean at the Legacy Center?
So through the Legacy Board, we had some inquiries of just using the kitchen and not the rest of the facility for
okay.
baking for a farmer's market or other things like that. So that was not something that the Legacy Center had done, and it was an opportunity to potentially use a facility that was sitting empty, otherwise not being used. So they explored that option, and I believe they've had 2 or 3 users just using the kitchen, so they're not using the stage or the rest of the facility, and they come in and use it for a period of time with a set rate, and then they vacate it and clean it when they're done.
Okay, very cool. I didn't realize that was a thing, but I like that. It's nice to see some more use and another small revenue stream. So.
Yeah, there's some businesses that they need the Alberta Health Services approved facilities, and they can't get that at home.
Right, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, thank you.
Councillor Gramlich?
I'm more of an arena, well, I actually don't use the arena at all. I used to use more of the arena than the pool. Is there, I know on Christmas Eve, there was always a bunch of different skates. Was the pool the same where it was used often on Christmas Eve or not really?
It's been quite, I've been a part of the pool for 30 years. Typically, I used to work Christmas Eve when I worked there, and we've been open the last, when Tasha was here, we were closed Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Boxing Day, but the last 2 years we were open Christmas Eve. I think we had 5 people in the facility.
Yeah, this probably be a better question for Calvin, but do you know what the usage was like the last couple Christmas Eves for the rentals?
For MRC?
Yeah, for the
It was low, like my daughter worked it, so it was low, and they were closed at noon, right? So everything was in the morning.
Okay.
On Christmas Eve. They still closed at noon typically like they do here, right? So it was all morning schedule, so it's not.
It wasn't a full day
No.
of stuff. Oh, I think Andrew has a question.
Okay, Councillor Hughes, and then we'll go to
I
Councillor
was
Cho.
just going to piggyback off that. My one other question was Boxing Day at the pool. Is that historically been low?
Yeah, low, yeah.
It's low?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, because that would be the one day that maybe I would question usage, but that's good to know.
No, it's
that
pretty quiet. Those 3 days at the pool and the MRC are pretty quiet. People are with their families, right? So they typically, if it's nice out, they'll go do something outside, or they're at home with their families. And even our staff have said, the ones that come back from university like to work during that time, but they typically all request Boxing Day off anyways, because that's their
Right.
time to be with family.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Choba?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, have you received any feedback from residents just indicating that these hours are not being used, or is it just staff scheduling that's primarily the reason why we're recommending this?
It's from, like, we keep track of our usage, and so does the MRC, and so when we go back and look at the usage, those are our 3 least used days out of the whole year. So it's just by tracking usage and not even, like, our staff will work it if they're scheduled to work it, but it's mostly just usage tracking.
Okay, and why are we approving this as a permanent annual closure rather than reviewing it yearly?
I don't think it said permanent. I think it was just a recommendation for this year. I don't think it was a.
We did include it annually just because the last 4 or 5 years, Councillor Choba, have shown that the numbers are down. So at the MRC last year on Christmas Eve, we had 6 users, and on Boxing Day, we had 4 in the MRC, and most of them are on the track just because of the weather. So the accumulation of 4 people at the MRC for 6 hours doesn't equate to the staff that we put there. So that's why we included. We could do it annually if that's the choice, but we did include it just because of the last few years have shown that it's not, the numbers aren't there. And we, not that I'm aware of, we have not had any public inquiries as to why we're open or closed. It's just those that do show up, and we would advertise it so people aren't walking up to the door and seeing it locked if that's the way we go.
Councillor Gramlich?
6 users in the field house or 6 ice rental, like,
Noise.
6 users in the building. There was a public skate. There was some walking track things going in place. There was no
people
rentals.
as in users?
Yeah, nobody rented the
Holy
ice.
Toledo.
Nobody rented the ice.
okay, it's different than it used to be.
People used to want to rent it.
Yeah, that's why
On
I thought it was
Christmas
like a
Eve.
hot
Yeah.
commodity.
Yeah.
And what we could do for the ice side of things or the pool, we could put out, like, if you want to use it for those 2 days as a rental, we could advertise that ahead of time. But for the most part, nobody's coming in and doing rentals.
Councillor Gramlich?
I would just even suggest, like, you guys have the data, and it's different than I thought, but maybe well, if no one's renting it, no one's renting it. I was gonna give you some names of people, to just let them know it's not gonna be available, so rent the 23rd or 22nd for their annual things, but they might already be doing that, so shouldn't be a big deal.
Councillor Hughes?
I'm ready to make a motion. I move that council accepts this report for information and approves the closure of the Northern Lights Aquatic Center and the MRC to the public on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and Boxing Day each year, with essential facility checks and chemical monitoring continuing during the closure.
Motion on the floor. Any further discussion? Call to question. Those in favor? And that is carried. Thanks, Darcy. Next up, we have Recycle Depot Information Report. Kush, floor is yours.
Good evening, Your Worship, members of council. The purpose of this report is to update council on changes coming to Recycle Depot starting October 1st this year. Recycle Depot, located on 7th Street Northeast, has been registered as Community Depot under Alberta's Extended Producer Responsibility Regulation since April last year. EPR shifts the financial and operational responsibilities for recycling, packaging, and paper products from local governments and taxpayers to the producers of those materials. Under the program, the producers are responsible for managing recyclable materials at the end of their useful life, including collection, processing, public education, and sale of recycled materials. The Recycle Depot provides residents with an additional option for disposing of recyclable material beyond the curbside recycling program. The depot currently has 25 6-yard bins, including 15 cardboard bins and 10 commingle bins. The commingle bins accept materials such as newspaper, magazines, tin cans, mixed paper, glass containers, plastic film, and plastic containers. The depot is available for residential use only, and commercial recycling is not permitted. The depot is jointly operated by town and MDE and is also available to MDE residents. Under the existing agreement, the town is responsible for 75.73% of the contracted cost related to the servicing the recycling bins, while MD is responsible for the remaining 24.27%. The first 18 months of the town's EPR agreement with Circular Materials for depot operation will end at the end of September this year. A new 15-month term will begin on October 1st and will continue till December 2027, at the end of December 2027. Beginning with new term, Circular Materials has confirmed that residents will no longer be required to sort recyclable materials at the depot. All accepted recycled materials will be collected through a single stream system, similar to the town's curbside recycling program. Circular Material has also confirmed that recyclable materials from the depot must be transported to an EPR-approved receiving facility located at 240 Balsam Road in Slave Lake, which is operated by GFL Environmental. Following confirmation of the new receiving location, administration requested quotation from local contractors. GFL Environmental provided the most competitive service rate for hauling recyclables from Recycle Depot to the receiving facility, and as a result, the town has finalized a service contract with GFL Environmental. As the receiving facility is located much closer to the depot, contracted hauling costs are expected to decrease significantly. Monthly costs are estimated to be approximately $3,000 to $3,500 compared to previously it was costing us $8,000 to $9,000 per month. The depot also sees additional annual operating cost, approximately $4,000 for gravel materials, $4,500 for electricity to power the lights on the periphery, and then $25,000 in public works staff time for general site maintenance, including upkeep of grass clippings and brush bins. Under the renewed contract term, the Recycle Depot will be eligible to receive monthly compensation of $4,872.33. This funding is intended to support base depot operations, transfer services, and resident education. The cost of operating the Recycle Depot is currently passed on to ratepayers, and the compensation provided through EPR program, together with lower hauling cost, is expected to reduce the overall cost of the service and provide savings to residents. The town's finance department will review the recycling rates and make any required adjustment during the upcoming fall-winter term. With transition to the single stream model starting October 1st, 2026, new signage will be installed at the Recycle Depot site, and then communications will also be released to the residents notifying of the changes. Administration recommends that council accept this report as information.
Thank you. Opening up the floor to council for any questions. Councillor Gramlich?
Kush, is there possibly like a different and or better way for the grass clippings and stuff there? I've always thought it was not the best because you go there and people don't dump the grass in the right spot, and
Right.
it creates like a big mess, and we probably have to clean it up and remove it way quicker than we should if it was all put in there properly. Is there something we could look into to see if there's a better mechanism? Because that one, it kills my brain.
Yeah, sure. We can definitely have a chat with the operations department and probably bring some conversation during our budget meetings.
Okay.
But for now, my report was only focusing on recycling side of things, so I didn't look at the grass clipping side of things, so I don't have the accurate information.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councillor Williams?
Hi, thank you. With the new EPR agreement providing $4,872.33 per month in compensation and the hauling costs expected to decrease significantly, can administration give council an estimate of the net annual savings to residents under the new agreement?
Yeah, so until the last program where these recyclables were hauled to a different site, I think it was a regional facility in Edmonton somewhere. Considering that cost, considering the cost to upkeep by Public Works, cost to spread gravel materials, cost for power, we were looking at around $106,000 to run this facility last year. And I think this going forward with this new term,
Yes.
for the next year, we are projecting around $77,000 a year. Again, this Public Works time is estimated, so if they spend less time, then it will be further savings.
Okay. And then with the move to the single stream recycling, and residents no longer have to sort materials at the depot, do we anticipate this will increase the usage at the depot? Do we have sufficient bin capacity if this increases?
I think when we redid the contract, we had a conversation with GFL regarding pickup times and stuff. So
Okay.
right now they are doing like with cardboard bins, 15 cardboard bins and 10 commingled. They are doing like Monday, Wednesday, Friday for cardboard bins, 15. And then the commingled bins are taken care like once a week, either Tuesday or Thursday, depending on how full they are. But going forward, because now every bin can hold the recycled materials, I think the first couple months will be more like a trial and error kind of thing. And to begin with, we will stick with like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And if we need to adjust frequencies, then we'll definitely, like the contract did allow some contingency to adjust some frequencies. So that dollar amount, the higher side of the dollar amount, the $3,500 will definitely cover those additional pickups if needed.
Okay. Oh, and one more thing too, I just had a question in regards to the cameras set up at the recycle depot. Have you guys noticed the difference? Has there been a difference in having to clean up the garbage that's thrown all over the place, or anything reported from that yet?
If you want to come up here to the mic, Joel. Thank you.
Thank you.
That way everyone can hear. Thank you.
So there is noted repeat offenders that we are now in the process
Okay.
of writing a ticket for.
Yeah.
But for the most part, the cameras are a deterrent from people just showing
Yes.
up.
I'm there usually every second day or so, dropping off some recycles, and I've noticed it's been quite a bit cleaner, so it's nice to see. So I'm
Yep.
hoping it
So
does make a difference.
in general, it's a good deterrent. And the one camera that faces the pop bottle donation thing,
Yes,
it's not a perfect camera, so we don't exactly know who's doing it, but every time they cut the bar to climb in and steal those bottles, we know about it much sooner than somebody driving by like, oh, yeah, that's open. Okay, it's been open about a month. So we have a better knowledge as to when there is damage to the recycling center itself and the parts thereof.
okay, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anything further from council? Councillor Bowes?
I would like to move my computer. I would like to make a motion to move that council accepts this report as information.
Motion on the floor. Any further discussion? Call to question, those in favor. And that is carried. Okay. Kush, you're still on a roll here.
Moving on to the next one. The purpose of this report is to provide council project update related to the Main Street and 6th Ave Northwest-Northeast intersection upgrades. So the intersection at Main Street and 6th Ave North serves as a key pedestrian and vehicle crossing. Nearby facilities include schools, senior lodges, resulting in high daily foot traffic, including children's and adult. The intersection's asphalt surface, sidewalk, and stormwater infrastructure have deteriorated significantly. The sidewalk cracking, settlement, and aging catch basins impact accessibility and contributing to additional drainage failures. Along with aging infrastructure, multiple complaints have been received over the last few years related to near misses between vehicles and pedestrians at this location. Due to such complaints, an intersection study was commissioned and completed in 2023. The findings and recommendations were provided by McElhenney to the town to improve the pedestrian safety. So I'll just go over with some of the findings and recommendations from the study as a background, just so that council just refreshes their memories. Talking about the existing condition with respect to intersection geometry, signage, and pavement marking, Main Street and 6th Ave North is a four-legged intersection with all-way stop control. There is no dedicated turn lanes provided on the intersection approaches. A red flashing light has been installed above the intersection to increase the conspicuity of the stop control for all approaches. And there are painted pedestrian crosswalk provided on 3 of the intersection's leg. The south intersection leg does not have a formal crosswalk. With respect to traffic volume, 3 12-hour traffic counts were conducted during school week, starting Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Vehicle classes were differentiated between light, single unit, recreational vehicle, articulate trucks, buses, etc. And pedestrians and bicycle counts were also recorded on the crosswalk. Details of those counts are provided in attachment 2. Existing morning and evening peak hour traffic volumes at the study intersection were also recorded, and they have been attached in attachment 1. The recorded AM, like morning and evening peak hours, were also aligned with school peak hours to capture correct data. With respect to intersection capacity analysis, the performance of the study intersection based on the existing peak hour traffic volumes resulted in level of service of B or better. This is generally considered to be an acceptable level of service. However, school peaking periods are often shorter than an hour and therefore results in a more concentrated period of congestions during a day. Level of service is one of the qualitative measures used to relate the quality of the operational conditions of a roadway. The level of service for each approach movement is determined based on the delay experienced by vehicles at the intersection. Larger delays indicate a poor level of service. So level of service usually range from A to F, and we are located in B, so we are pretty good with this intersection. The volume to capacity ratio of the study intersection is less than 1, meaning the theoretical demand in vehicles per hour is less than the capacity of the movement, confirming there is no further capacity issues. With regards to safety review on the collected data, pedestrians are currently crossing at the south leg of the intersection, even though a formal crossing is not provided on that leg. The evening peak hour count included 6 pedestrian crossing on the south leg. Some vehicles do not come to a complete stop prior to proceeding through the intersection. Driver inattention may result in a safety concern for pedestrian in the area. The crossing distance for pedestrians at the intersection is long due to the width of the roadway and larger radii present at the intersection corners. This increases the exposure time for pedestrian and results in increased risk of conflicts between pedestrian and vehicles at these crossing locations. The roadway are wide enough on certain approaches that vehicle making a right turn at the intersection can pull up next to a stopped vehicle in the through lane for the same direction, even though there are no dedicated turning lanes provided. Existing crosswalk consists only of painted twin parallel lines that are faded and difficult to see. No signage is present approaching or at the intersection to indicate the potential presence of pedestrians. The school zone for the northbound travel direction on Main Street is terminated just south of the intersection. Therefore, vehicles may anticipate being able to accelerate to higher speed prior to the stop sign at 6-7 Northeast, increasing the potential severity of any collision that may occur between vehicles and pedestrians. So based on the overall analysis of the intersection, following recommendations were made by McElhenney. So implementation of curb extension. The implementation of curb extension at each of the intersection corners to narrow the roadway and reduce the crossing distance would enhance the safety for pedestrian at this intersection. The curb extension would likely result in reduced speed and improve sight lines for driver to better detect pedestrian in the crosswalk or waiting to cross. Upgrade to crosswalk marking was one of the recommendations as well. Like they recommended to change the twin parallel lines to a zebra crossing to enhance some conspicuity of the crossing and align with the school area requirement. Creating a formal crossing on the south leg. The review completed showed that there are pedestrian crossing on the south leg, and as such, Transportation Association of Canada's Pedestrian Crossing Control Guide, third edition was referred, and it was confirmed through those metrics that ground-mounted crosswalk with a crosswalk with side-mounted signs is warranted based on that guide. And then it was recommended that a formal crossing is introduced on the south leg to provide adequate pedestrian connectivity. Extension of school zone on Main Street of 6-7 Northeast intersection. The extension of school zone on Main Street is terminated just south of 6th Ave intersection, which may result in drivers accelerating and approaching the intersection at higher speeds. It was suggested that the school zone be extended north of the intersection to reduce speeds through the intersection and enhance the safety of pedestrian. Implementing pedestrian warning sign on Main Street was also recommended to inform drivers that presence of pedestrian at the intersection. Implementation of raised crossing on the north and south leg. Raised crossing for the crosswalk in the north and south leg would reduce vehicle speed on Main Street, improve pedestrian visibility, and reduce the potential for conflict between vehicle and pedestrian. This would also further enforce the requirement for northbound and southbound traffic to stop at the intersection at 6-7 North. And then reviewing intersection lighting was also recommended. It is suggested that town review the current intersection lighting to identify if the crosswalk are adequately illuminated or not. Administration had previously recommended that council incorporate several pedestrian safety improvements into scope while completing the required infrastructure repairs, including asphalt and sidewalk rehabilitation. Integrating these improvements with the planned construction would provide an opportunity to address existing safety concerns while minimizing the need for future reconstruction and disruptions. The proposed intersection upgrades include curb extension, enhanced pedestrian warning signage, improved pavement markings, and establishment of a formal pedestrian crossing on the south leg of the intersection. These measures are intended to improve pedestrian visibility, clarify crossing locations, and reduce pedestrian exposure to vehicle traffic. Curb extension would shorten the pedestrian crossing distance and improve visibility to approaching drivers. However, narrowing the roadway at the intersection may result in some concerns from local residents and driver regarding vehicle maneuverability and the perceived reduction in the roadway width. These concerns can be mitigated through appropriate design and proactive communication with affected residents. Curb extensions may also have some operational impacts on winter maintenance activities. The reduced roadway width and additional curb features could slow grader movements and may require localized steaming or manual snow removal around the extensions. While these measures could result in additional maintenance effort, the operational impacts are considered manageable when weighed against the anticipated pedestrian safety benefits. So council has already allocated 100,000 from road reserve to complete this upgrade this year. And then before we start any work, communication will be released to the residents through social media and warrant alerts. And then proposed upgrades would improve safety and accessibility at one of the critical intersections in town. Our recommendation is to accept this report as information.
Open up the floor to council for any questions. Councillor Bowes?
Hey, Kush, how's it going? Thank you. Got a weird question. If I'm wrong, I'm going to look really bad. But there is no school zone on Main Street anymore. When council chose to change the speed, when you go south and you cross the tracks and it goes to 40 till you hit Cal Tire, they put the hole in at EG, and there's no school zone in there anymore. Please tell me I'm right, or I'm really going to
Alex, go ahead.
That is correct, and when I reviewed this report this week, I read that, and I thought it was coming from the other way, and as he was going through it, you're correct. This report started a couple years ago when there was still a school zone there, so it is not there anymore.
Well, I was reading it, and I was thinking it was meaning, to do a school zone from CJ all the way to where the buses come in the back, but then I'm like, north,
Right.
I'm going, okay, then I've been speeding for quite a
Yeah,
while.
the findings were taken in 2023, so I think at the time we still had different zones.
And
Okay.
if I'm correct, I'm piggybacking on that. So the two things that wouldn't be happening is obviously the school zone, and then, am I correct in that we're not doing the raised crossings on the north and
Yeah,
the
so
south?
we are not
Okay,
doing
so
that.
those are out of the report as a whole.
Yes.
Two things not happening. Obviously, the school zone because of changes that were
Yes.
previously implemented,
Okay.
and then no raised north and south leg.
No.
Okay.
And also like the zebra crossing, I think we will do like the twin parallel lines with line and fill grind painting. I think that will last better.
Longer.
And then we don't have to do zebra crossing as well.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I have
Councillor-
included an attachment, an additional attachment, that shows just the layout as to how it may look like.
And Councillor Choba has a question as well. Go ahead. Nope, you're good? Okay.
I was gonna make a motion, but
You can do that, but we'll get to hold on a second. We got some questions first, so I'll go through those before that. Councillor Williams.
Thank you. I'm just trying to visualize how far the school zone extension is going to look on that road, because being that E.G. Wallstrom is there.
There's no school zone.
There's no school zone.
Okay, but like, are we going to extend it from CJ then all the way to the corner?
The school zone?
Yes.
There's no school zone.
No, but on the sixth.
The other way?
East-west.
Yes, the other way.
Where
I
does
think
it end?
east-west was fine. It was more like the north-south was the concern.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so there won't be any.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, because there's the two school zones, I forgot,
Yeah.
from Schurter going
Yeah.
that way.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Counselor Hughes?
I was just wondering, what was the reasoning on not doing the raised,
I mean,
raised crossing or whatever, like, so it's,
It is one of the suggestions, so raised crossing is more like a bump,
yeah.
right? So we thought, if we are implementing curb extension, probably we don't need raised crossing.
Okay.
But that is one of the kind of like implementation that town can do to improve pedestrian safety, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's why I like the idea of that, just because it's, sorry, am I not? I thought I was on. Here we go. I like the idea of that originally, just because I feel like you hit that when you're driving and you're noticing, right? But, so you're saying just with the curb extensions and the rest of the plan, that is just not necessary at this point?
Yes, at this point, yes.
Okay. So everything that's, just for clarification, the recommendations on here under the 5th point, though, not all of them are the current ones that we're actually doing then?
So those were the
Right.
recommendation provided
Yeah.
with the study.
Okay.
But then whatever I have in the discussion is what we'll be doing,
Is-
like, curb extension, enhanced pedestrian warning signage,
Right.
pavement markings, and establishing a formal leg on the south side.
Okay, and when
Right.
you say enhanced pedestrian warning signage, what does that mean?
So it means like it will, how we have those pedestrian crossing signs at the crosswalk? But
Okay.
this would be more like a warning sign, advance to
Okay.
approaching the crosswalk.
Yeah.
just so that drivers approaching always stop, they understand that there might be presence of pedestrians at that area, at that location.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll have lots of signage out, even like a new or something, like we're really going to let the community be aware of this, right? Because
Yes.
by the time this is done, I'm hoping school is gonna just be starting, but I don't feel hopeful at this point. I don't know if you could elaborate on timeline.
We are talking to a contractor, and they are trying to squeeze us in before the school starts. And I mean, like this year, the weather was crazy, like every contractor is going through significant delays because of constant rain. So
Yeah.
we are trying our best to
Okay.
finish it before.
Totally.
But to be fair,
before the
people
schools are-
don't see curb extensions and run right over them. We got some
Well,
driving
yeah.
issues.
Yes, yes.
So
for
we
sure.
can't make rules
Totally.
to,
It is one of those things, though, and I understand the rain, that's out of our control on a lot of our projects, unfortunately, but I do think that this could be one of those instances that we will hear about as council from
likely.
people. If the work's not done and buses are rolling and
Yeah.
it's a little bit chaotic, it could be an interesting time of,
and
new-
what I would
new
just counter,
driving
what I
there,
would
so.
counter back on that is that the community has requested safety upgrades.
for sure.
And if there is a little bit of a delay,
Yeah.
in order to do so because of construction season, you can't have everything perfect.
Right.
No, agreed.
And so I get that.
Yeah.
It could be very
I'm
frustrating.
just trying to
but-
make sure we're thinking about every lens to kind of combat those concerns as we can. But at least for me personally speaking, I drive through there every day last year at school, and I don't know how many people had a near miss with a child walking across the street. So as a parent and as a counselor here, I do stand by this plan. I do think it will make children feel hopefully a lot safer crossing the streets, and that's why we, are doing this. But I do just want to make sure that we, I guess, get our messaging right and sort of try to do everything that we can be doing to let people know and just, lessen that
Right.
feedback that is going to inevitably come
So
our way.
I have attached another attachment 3, which is like just a drafted communication notice. So probably that's something we will be pushing out on our
Perfect.
social media and Voyant, just to explain why we are doing this and what actually this is going to help with, right? So,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
Okay.
And with regards to schedule, if it falls outside of the school, before the school start, like if you're not able to do it, then probably we'll try to manage doing it over the weekend or something so that traffic is more manageable.
Or winter breaks in end of October, early November, I believe, depending on the schedule. So there might be some options for some days.
But the only
off.
thing is, if we push it back, then
Yeah.
it's just a concrete, right? So
Totally.
might not
Right.
be
So
appropriate.
the scale of this project, Kush, could actually be done in a number of days then? This isn't a week's
So, yeah, I mean, like,
situation?
the curb extensions, those won't take a long time, right? So
Okay.
we are hoping the curb extension would be like 2 or 3 days.
Okay.
And then asphalt repairs will be additional a day, like,
Mm-hmm.
and then those catch basin adjustment would be a day. So we're hoping like within five days, we should be able to.
And Alex, want to weigh in?
Yeah, so to back up what Kush was saying, we've had many discussions about timelines. I've been very clear that August 31st is a deadline.
Yeah.
One of the things is the grind and fill for the painting. We will probably coordinate that with the new Main Street section from 7-Eleven to Highway 2.
Okay.
So that's something we've asked the contractor, can you do that on a Saturday?
makes
So we
sense.
don't disrupt school. So, yeah, we've had many discussions about school and timelines, and we know we're in crunch time, but I've been
Yeah.
reassured that this project can still take place before the end of the month.
Okay.
Okay, and then
That's
I'm
good to
going to
know.
let Councillor Hudson weigh in next.
Nobody wants.
Yes, it will have to be pushed out. And even with those curb extension, there will be a channel between the old curb and the new extended curb.
Yeah.
So we might have to do some steaming if there is an ice buildup or something like that. So there will be some added maintenance.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we have already communicated that to Public Works Department, and yeah, they are anticipating some
Okay.
additional time to be spent at that location.
And they feel that the buses will still be able to make those corners?
Yeah, so we did, when we did the survey, that was one thing. The guideline says, like, in order to have the very shortest distance, your curb radiuses should be between 3 and 5. However, in our case, because the schools are really close by and there are multiple buses turning, we did make sure that we did a mock-up kind of like sweep path for the buses. And as such, we ended up selecting a radius of 12.2 meters, which is significantly larger than they anticipated. But again, we have to accommodate all the vehicles there, right? So we have considered the bus turning movements already.
Good. And then there wouldn't be a lot of truck turning in that area, but I guess for the two seniors facilities would probably have vans?
Yes,
again?
that should be enough.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay, good.
Yes.
No, that's good, thanks.
Councillor Bowes?
I think you kind of answered this, but I just want to check. So when we do this project, we're not just doing we're going to actually fix the
asphalt.
road
Yes,
on the
yes.
intersection? Okay.
Yes, so, yeah, the asphalt is pretty rough there, so that's our intention, to do some sort of like mill and fill.
Okay, yeah, because that,
Along with the curb extensions, right, so,
okay,
yes.
okay. Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Choba, if you'd like to make the motion, go ahead.
I'd like to move that council accepts the intersectional grid project report as information.
All right, motion on the floor. Any further discussion? Call to question, those in favor. And that is carried. Thanks,
Thank you.
Kush.
Thank you.
And then moving on, Alex is going to give us the Alberta Community Partnership Grant Letter Request Report.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Council, filling in for plan and development on this. So the purpose of this report is to seek council's support for the town of Slave Lake to apply for the 2026-27 Alberta Community Partnership Intermunicipal Collaboration Grant as the managing partner for a joint regional planning project. The proposed project would include the rewrite of the town of Slave Lake and the MD of Lesser Slave River's intermunicipal development plans, the waterfront area structure plan, and the Tri-Council Regional Growth Plan. The town and the MD are currently looking to upgrade both their IDP and the WFASP at the same time. At the same time, Tri-Council has been discussing the future of the regional growth plan and the opportunity to include it as a rewrite in the same project. The current IDP dates back to 2014. The intermunicipal waterfront plan dates back to 2007, and the regional growth plan is from 2015. Given the age of these documents, administration feels it is important to review and update them to make sure they reflect current development, growth, service needs, legislation, and the priorities of the participating organizations. Both the IDP and the WFASP are statutory planning documents that provide important direction for future land use and development between the town and the MD. Keeping these plans current helps provide clear and consistent direction for council, administration, landowners, and developers. The RGP is also connected to the intermunicipal planning framework and was intended to be a living document with strategic priorities reviewed annually and the plan reviewed and written on a 5-year cycle. Updating the 3 plans as one coordinated project provides an opportunity to make sure they are current, consistent with one another, and continue to provide clear direction with future growth and development in the region. So administration is proposing the town apply under the ACP intermunicipal collaboration component and act as a managing partner for the project. The grant program supports regional planning projects and requires a partnership of 2 or more eligible organizations. For a project with $150,000 in eligible costs, the program can provide up to $135,000 with a minimum municipal contribution of $15,000. The project is currently estimated to be between $130,000 and $150,000 based on similar statutory plan rewrites, projects previously completed by the town using planning consultants. The intent would be to hire a third-party consultant through the RFP process with the participating organizations involved in the consultant selection and project work. If the project cost is $150,000, the required 10% contribution would be $15,000 and could be shared between the project partners. Grant funding decisions are expected in March of 31st of 2027, with the project anticipated to begin in the fall of 2027 and completed in late 28 or early 2029. The ACP guidelines require the managing partner and project participants to confirm their involvement through council resolutions or motions. The resolutions must confirm support for the project and identify the managing partner. So the council has two options: to support the grant or to not support the grant. Relation to strategic planning, mission statement, or vision statement, the project would align with strategic direction and focus on providing effective core services. Current statutory planning documents are an important part of the core municipal service delivery as they provide clear direction for land use, development, infrastructure, and future growth. Keeping these plans up to date also helps administration provide consistent and timely information to residents, landowners, developers, and supports council when making land use and development decisions. Good long-term planning helps ensure land use, infrastructure, and services are considered together and provides a strong foundation for how the community grows moving forward. So administration recommends the council supports the town acting as a managing partner and the ACP application and participating in the joint planning project.
Thank you. Any questions, comments from council? Councillor Hughes.
No comments from me. I will make a motion. Move that council supports the town of Slave Lake participating in the joint regional growth plan, intermunicipal development plan, and area structure plan rewrite project, and that the town of Slave Lake be designated as the managing partner for the 2026-2027 Alberta Community Partnership Intermunicipal Collaboration Grant application, and that administration be authorized to submit the grant application on behalf of the project partners.
Motion on the floor. Any further discussion? Called question. Those in favor? And that is carried. Okay, just going to move along into question period. Anything for administration at this time? Okay, as I see none, we're going to take a 10-minute break, and then we'll come back for State of the Lake and then the update from MLA Sinclair. I'm gonna throw something at you.
Hello? All right. This will be a,
Just hold on 2 seconds. We're not ready for you.
is it the
Just
mouse?
get-
Thought it was a mouse.
Yes, we are starting with State of the Lake. We're ready to go? Okay, thank you. Anything for State of the Lake? Okay, as I see nothing, now MLA Sinclair, it is your turn for an update.
Thank you, Mrs. Chair. Can I bring this over here? I should have asked that first.
That's perfectly fine.
Okay, so I was just coming to sit in and observe, and I was going to take some questions if anybody had any. So I don't have like an official update planned, which is also why I'm not dressed as nice as Sean and Craig are for men. Not to say the women aren't nice dressed, but I'm not wearing a suit. Since I think I last attended, we've had a couple updates. I just got permission from the Transportation Department this afternoon, so I'll be putting together a post with an update on some maintenance funding that we were able to get that is in year and new for transportation after some lobbying done by some of the other northern MLAs and myself. And I'm very grateful that Treasury Board approved that. The specifics, I believe, are around $800,000 for our region. And the locations of where the maintenance is going to be done, I'll include that in my update post, but I don't have it on me. But if by the time we get done this, if someone has questions, I should be able to pull it up on my phone and give you guys kind of a rough idea. It's not just Highway 88, and some of the answers are a little bit broad, but this has nothing to do with the Highway 88 project. This is just preventative maintenance. That's not really preventative. That should have been done probably before, had Transportation had the budget to do so in the last couple of years. So that is good news, and I'm grateful for anybody who's reached out to my office to help advocate for that, and always grateful for this council's support when it comes to trying to push these agendas forward. So that is a big win. And then also, in the last couple of days, we just confirmed, and we'll also have an email out from either me personally or my office tomorrow morning. But next Wednesday, I'm just double checking my calendar, August 26th from 9 a.m. till 10:30 in High Prairie at the High Prairie Hospital. The Premier will be visiting, and we have an hour and a half total of time for her in the town before she continues her loop. I think she has 6 or 7 stops to make between Grand Prairie, Fairview, Peace River, and High Prairie. So I was able to squeeze us in for a little bit of time there with the Premier, and it's a government-only meeting, so it won't be open to the public. The invites are going to be to the town of Slave Lake, the town of High Prairie, Big Lakes County, Lesser Slave, River County, and the MD of Opportunity. And each group will have 2 delegates or 2 speakers that will have about 5 to 9 minutes, depending on how long-winded the Premier's answers are. And if you've seen her speak publicly ever, you'll know that she likes to have very fulsome answers, and she does enjoy debate. So that's why we've limited the agendas for each municipality to 2. So if it's possible, I would request that the council and the chair, Ms. Mayor Frankie, is that the proper?
That works for me.
Could send me that by end of day Thursday or Friday, just so I can vet it, all the agenda issues with everyone that needs to see it. So that's a pretty exciting thing, I think, for the region. I am also working on a second visit in November. We're going to be in session, so it'll have to be probably a weekend thing where I'm hoping the Premier will spend about a day here, and then I'm going to suggest that she make a different milk run back, one that I make quite quite often is up through 88, through Wabasca, and then the back way to Calling Lake, just because number one, they're in the trying not to swear here, the unfortunate end of the cul-de-sac sometimes in our region, so they get passed over. So like her to, plus I'd like anytime we can get anybody, a minister or someone in my government, to drive up Highway 88, it's always much easier to explain it, why we're so passionate about it. So when I have more information about that timeline, I'll have more time to plan it. I'll make sure I include the municipality. So if we have her for 4 to 6 hours maybe, then we can plan something out in advance, and I'll make sure I include you guys in that conversation. I did receive the first request from Ashley today for Alberta municipality meetings. I believe Minister Sigurdsson from Utilities and Affordability. Is that right, Ashley? But the sooner you guys could get the meeting requests that you're looking for the issues that you want over to me, or if anybody has my cell number, just text me the ministers that you want to meet with. But it's good to have a backup with the through your office as well, just so we're keeping track of that. But if you guys want to meet with 12 or 13 of them, or if you want to try meeting with 20, I'll start working on it now, as long as you guys are okay with committing that much time. And I think you're there two days only, or 3 days, so you got to cram a lot in. But I'm happy to set up as many as you guys would like. The more time we have and more time we give them, the easier it is. I think I suggested this last time too, if we could sort out those items for each ministry in advance, and then I'll be able to go back and forth. That way, I think Cindy and Craig and Lynn have experienced it maybe once with every minister, but it's kind of like a speed dating type thing. By the time you're done with introductions and then a picture at the end, you're only left with 10 minutes in these little short timelines. So I always suggest people, you don't have to, but keep it to maybe, again, 1 or 2 speakers if you can, and then keep it to hopefully have those issues ironed out with my office and the ministry in advance, so that you guys can go in there with something that you can get a definitive answer on. All the other issues that you have that aren't high priority, I'm happy to take to the ministries anytime, but that would be something that we could get, like I said, in-person real answer from somebody who's capable of making a serious decision. So those are 2 things. One of the other ones is, it's been switched around a couple times, but Minister Long had to reschedule his visit for August the 14th of this month, and he said sometime in September. I haven't heard back when that date will be. As soon as that gets done, I'll let everybody know here first. I didn't have a lot of time with him before, but I had planned a meeting with, conceptually anyways, a meeting with this council, and then a visit to the Highway 88 land across the highway where the fair is, because that falls under infrastructure. And I think there's an opportunity there for us to do something, I think, exciting for the town when it comes to, housing or a few other things. So that, if we have any other suggestions for what we'd like in the visit, if we have more time, like the hospital perhaps, I'm happy to try and fit that in since he rescheduled us. Highway 88, just to pivot backwards, I should have included that, but like I said, this is not a formal update, but the Minister of Transportation's department just reached out for some dates, and if you guys could bear with me 1 second, I'll give you the ones that I suggested, and then hopefully we can find a common answer between us. But his department will be coming up to do one, they've been promising this for a while, but a community design meeting, town hall, with 90 to 95% of the design for Highway 88 is completed. But there will be room for us to be able to take either advice from industry or neighbors or other municipalities to be able to offer something that's glaringly obvious when we see the design. And I'm sure there will be numerous things that people think we could have done better, but hopefully they've got the bulk of it finished, and then whatever changes we make are something hopefully pretty small. But and then staying on Highway 88, I'm working with Minister Dreeshen, and he's got a new parliamentary secretary who used to live in Slave Lake and who is the MLA for Cold Lake Bonnyville named Scott Sear. And along with a few of the other northern MLAs, we've been advocating, like I said, for some changes to maintenance funding for roads in northern Alberta. But specifically, I'm working hard internally to try and make sure that Highway 80 is designated as an economic corridor. So this will hopefully change the classification of the highway where its urgency is after it's done this time. If it needs to be done again in 5 or 7 years, when the cut across highway from Fort McMurray to Red Earth is finished, I think the traffic will be 5 to 10 times what it is right now. So even if we finish Highway 88, all of it next year, it could need to be redone within 6 to 7 years if the industry continues like this. So designating it as an economic corridor has been something I've been working on for a while. It's an extremely important one. It's directly connected to the work that we've all been doing in the area for resource revenue mapping, which is feels like me saying the same old tune again, everybody in here. But the reason that's important is because I won the private bill lottery for, sometimes you don't even get to present a private bill in your first term, but I should be able to table Bill 206 or 205 is my number, but I think by the end of this fall session or for sure in the spring session. And I'm happy to take advice, but the one that I presented to the Legislative Assembly in concept, which is early days, so there's a lot of stuff that needs to be done, is resource revenue mapping and basically trying to make the motion that I got passed law. And the tricky part there for people who don't follow politics too closely on the provincial side is private members can't put forward money bills is the easiest way to say it in layman's terms. So I'm hoping that we can take the advice of the people that need to help on the ministry side and the Premier's office to be able to come up with some sort of an answer where the resource revenue mapping is done and provides something that has a consequence on the way Treasury Board looks at metrics. At the very minimum, all this information will be in one place, which is a home run, because right now it's fragmented amongst a whole bunch of ministries. And for anybody who's been on municipal council for more than a couple of years, you'll understand how frustrating that is, because we shuffle cabinet or change ministries, and then it's like you're starting from square one. So the information for our area, if you can envision it being on a map, color-coded, Grand Prairie, Lloydminster, Slave Lake, Fort McMurray, we would all have like a dark red circle around our area, something that's really easy, like an easy visual to see, and that information, I'm hoping, can translate over to more resources back to our area. So whether or not it has an official consequence on the fiscal side, right now it would have to be kind of, I think, put forward by, or piggybacked by a minister, or it could just be a standalone bill. But that's kind of where I'm at with that. That's a long-term thing, but if that passes, I think that could be the most important legislation for Northern Alberta. It'll outlast governments, premiers, certainly me in this job. And if anybody has anything they want to add to that, please forward that information to my office. But we do have a lot of the same information we've been gathering for the last couple of years. So I think the LAO has enough information on that front. But when it comes to when I get to actually speak on it, probably in the spring, I will definitely reach out or table anything that anybody wants to say from either the council or the community at large. So I think that's probably the biggest updated item is that legislative change, I hope, can happen. I do have a couple backup bills, but I'm not going to discuss them until I get kind of a no on those. And then I'm very happy to take any suggestions for backup bills from anyone on council or anybody who's listening from the community. And just to circle back again to 88, I know we talk about it all the time. There will be no major construction in 2026 on 88. There will be maintenance done on 88. I don't know the exact areas off the top of my head. But the design needs to be completed, and this will be the most important advocacy that I'll have ever done as an MLA, and I'll probably ask for some letters of support to be able to try and make sure that the minister brings it forward and Treasury Board passes it. One of the challenges with this in the past is the design not being finished, and I'm just regurgitating what the minister's already told me, and I think Frankie and Sean, Kim, you might have heard this numerous times in the past, is we advocated kind of a different scope of work. Originally, they're just gonna pave 88, but when we changed the scope of work to widen it, there was some certain areas that we asked for different things on, and I think the easy example is the intersection at the truck stop is challenging. So those design changes, in a perfect world, I would have done just the straightaway or the ones that were common sense last year even, but I was told that Treasury Board doesn't like to do these things in pieces, and they won't get approved that way. So hopefully we come with a great big number here, and then it's all finished. Even if the construction's not completed as quick as we want, the overall number would be finished. Very similar to the Smith Bridge, which has been approved for north of $60 million for area, which is a win. And I know the people of Lesser Slave that have advocated are very happy about that, but that would be a similar situation. So I'm of course disappointed that we won't be seeing major construction on 88. If there was something more that I could have done, I would have done it for sure. But I want to make sure that we get the design right so that when the work is done, it is done properly and we don't have to redo it again, or it's not done to our expectations for safety. I think everybody's probably seen the difference in the small stretch of 5 kilometers roughly that has been completed. For me, it's a really challenging thing because it's like painting one strip of your house that needs to be repainted, and everyone thinks it looks beautiful, but now everything else looks drastically worse. Yeah, I don't want to get into the negative parts of Highway 88 because I think everybody feels probably very similar about that. But we're very close to the finish line on this. I'm confident it's going to get done. And if there's any questions, I'll take those at the end. I think the last one on minister visits was Minister Boychenko from Tourism and Sport. I'm still waiting for a date in September, so that might be kind of a last minute notice. So if you guys get 4 hours notice, it's probably because I've gotten 4 hours and 25 minutes notice, and I'm just trying to do the best I can to keep everybody informed. So if I can do it around a function like the home opener for the Wolves game and he can drop the puck, I'll happily do that, but it's really tricky getting these guys. Sometimes you got to accept, no different than the Premier's visit, that there's a time window there, and you know, everyone knows this, we're not in the milk run that they always take when they hit up northern Alberta. My office took a lot of complaints / inquiries a couple months ago about the beach access and some of the challenges that we face here trying to get stuff done on the tourism side. And I know Councillor Hughes would know this firsthand, but I am having initial conversations about trying to find a way of extending the, I don't know if the MOU, is it an MOU or an MOA, Kim? MOU, with probably Forestry and Parks, but I think that would probably need a couple other touches from 2 other ministries if I was to guess. But again, I'll be working with the local tourism board and this council, but when we have Minister Boychenko here, we should just make sure that we put together a list of items like that we want to go through with them. I think after speaking to numerous people, one of the requests has been to extend the area that's cleaned up right now a little bit farther on both sides, which I think is a pretty fair ask, and there'll be minimal environmental impacts, but I don't work in environment, so we should, it'll be a bit challenging kind of getting over that. The other couples, there's a bigger wish long-term wise of paving it, but obviously we want to finish 88 and the ones where we drive to work every day first. which is kind of a longer goal. And then another reasonable request, in my opinion, would be adding either temporary matting / stairs during the season only, or a couple more access points where people seem to go through them anyway, when they I think they just gut down through the arteries in certain spots because everybody's congested near the handicap area. So had a chance to see that firsthand at Beach Fest, which was amazing to see that many people here, but also it feels like we're only touching a tip of the iceberg on the potential for being able to capture what's so beautiful about our area. And so those are a couple of the other items. I'm going to stop right there and just do a quick Q&A, and then I'll circle back because I don't want to waste too much of your guys' time. So I'm happy to take any questions from there, and I apologize if I missed anything specific. Thank you.
No, appreciate the update. And is there any questions from council? Going once, going twice. Councillor Hughes.
I will never turn down the opportunity to speak with you. Thank you, MLA Sinclair, for your update. It sounds like you have a lot of irons in the fire as usual, and I appreciate all the work that you're doing for the North to represent us. A question, I know you might not have the details, but the maintenance funding, the extra additional funds that you hinted about for 88 and 2, is that more on the side of snow removal, salting, sanding, pothole filling? Are you able to speak to that a little bit more?
Thank you for the question, Councillor Hughes. This is, I don't know if you you were at the meeting with Michael?
Yes, I was. Yeah, that's why
Yeah.
I'm just curious
So-
if it's more winter maintenance or what it would be.
They deal with it with different pots of money and contracts, was my understanding from that meeting, and speaking to them. This money is specifically for the summer paving, pothole,
Okay.
line painting, maintenance that I think was requested from Minister Dreeshen in years past, but
Okay.
for various reasons, it didn't go through, so they're trying to play catch up on some of it.
Okay.
So I would say it's patching, pothole filling, and it doesn't say line painting on the update I have, but I
Yeah.
think that would be included in it. We have to separately advocate for more funding in another couple months for the winter season, because that's done completely different as far
Okay.
as I understand.
Okay.
And one of the, I can't break caucus confidentiality since I'm just freshly out of the penalty box, but I would say that when I speak to my government colleagues about some other changes, one would be how we classify the transportation roads again, which all circles back to the economic corridors, but also the thresholds when they do the contracts with subcontractors. So I think there's a lot of heat or criticism towards the companies that do the maintenance in the area. But anytime I speak to somebody one-on-one or more casually, I'd always remind them that these companies operate in different areas, and one of the contractors, I drive right through another riding that they're also the contractor in, and the roads always seem to be significantly better. And I don't operate a business at that scope, but what I would say is they're not purposely picking on our area. I think there's a couple different things that make it difficult. I think our area is probably one of the biggest ones, so that makes it more difficult with the amount of budgeting contracted amount, like the amount you're supposed to squeeze out of the contract that's been given from transportation.
Right.
I think they do there's room for improvement always, but I think they're trying to do the best they can with the budget that's given. So if the overall budget is increased for maintenance both in the summer and the winter, I think we would all see better results. And
I agree.
We can also follow up with Michael on some of the concerns we had at that other meeting. One of them being, I think, just something small because the contractors maybe aren't all necessarily from the area, but even just changing the routing so that this winter there's maybe some areas they can hit up more efficiently that make more sense for the snowfall, because
For sure.
I think we all noticed that this winter that It felt like it just took way too long to get the trucks out there,
Yes,
so.
yeah. I did get the impression from the meeting that there could be some fairly small changes that could be made to improve for us here. So do you plan on pursuing other winter maintenance? Like, it sounds like you might have a plan for that, like you said, in the coming months? Or is that something you want us as council to keep in touch with you about, just so I kind of, keep it on the radar?
I would suggest that both the town of Slave Lake and I'll suggest it when I see the MD next, that they put it on their RMA agenda with the
Okay.
transportation minister, and then, very humbly, I would request that you guys would do the same thing.
Okay.
And the reason being is because I think 88's, they know about 88 just about everywhere in this province, I think now.
Okay.
Of all the things that has happened over the last couple of years, that is one thing that everyone knows about our area. Most people know the name of that highway, so I would say it would be a refreshing change for the minister to hear about something different.
Okay.
But I also think it's important that he hears it from you guys as well, so.
It is on, and it is on our list for
Awesome.
the request to
And,
Mr. Tradition.
and Mayor Frankie, if I would clarify too, that we do separate the comments between, because if we just say preventative maintenance, that might
Yep.
sound like paving and potholes, but we should make sure we mention, I don't know what re-examining the existing contract on winter maintenance would be
Yeah.
the way I would phrase it.
Okay.
Because right now, as far as I know, the contractor is meeting the threshold that we put in those contracts. So to me, that is there's a huge gap between what everyone who drives that road thinks the threshold for safety would be and a fair road, and
Yeah.
then whatever our government's put in place for a budget to be able to match that, if that makes sense.
Yep, that makes sense. And sorry, the extra funding you did mention then would be for 2027, for this summer maintenance?
No, that's all
Now?
gonna be happening. Some of it has started, preliminary work has been done on some of the areas already. The rest of the maintenance is scheduled to be completed by September 30th.
Oh, okay.
So you'll start to see the trucks out there. I don't know if you guys have, I've seen a couple of them spray painting some areas already.
Okay.
So that's encouraging. And now that I've had a chance, I'll just give you guys a quick rundown if you want before I send out. I'm hoping to have like a post that has the areas and nice graphics from the ministry to be able to share, but
Okay.
really quickly, if you guys are okay, and I'll send this to anyone who wants it after, but the Highway 2, we have a paver patch area designated for kilometer 28, Highway 88, paver patch designated at kilometer 20. And it says additional patching to be considered at these locations, provided the available budget gets passed, which I believe it has. So Highway 813, which is the cut across from Wabasca through Colleen Lake back to Athabasca, I believe.
Okay.
Kilometer 36, paver patch, 36 and a half. Paver patch at kilometer 24.7, paver patch at kilometer 36. And there's some other areas that are included. They designated the Peace region, but it's still in our riding. Kilometer 0, it says, near Canuso. So there's an area there, and I believe that's for paver patch. Kilometer 43 east of Vanilda, kilometer 18 west of Vanilda, kilometer 30 west of High Prairie, and kilometer 20 southwest of Nipissing Lake, which is back on 88, and then kilometer 75 south of the junction with Highway 750. I do know how to read, it's just written in a very straight way here, just so you know, so I'm trying to
Yeah, I think
designate that as,
So
so.
want to forward it over?
Yeah, anyways, I'll copy and paste that so everyone can look at it afterwards, and then there'll be a post coming out with some graphics for everybody to see on the map, so
Okay,
hopefully that answered that question, Kim.
awesome. And, appreciate that. And then at this time, I will end Councillor Bowes.
Just to clarify, because it had been my understanding when we'd met with, for transportation, was that all roads, all highways in Alberta designated, what is it, A plus, B, C, D, basically, yeah, based on traffic. And that, something like the big Highway 2 between Edmonton and Calgary would be like an A plus, and we, of course, have less traffic. So are you saying that if we can, and what would it take to be designated as an economic corridor, would that kind of bump us up, which would then give us a better look at maintenance. So I'm just wondering what does it take to get an economic corridor?
I don't know the specifics. I think some of it is they're in new territory, so it's sort of a new frontier, where the reason that the term has been coined economic corridor is because before the only metrics they used was population. So the idea of this even is new, and it's fantastic for us because we have a chance to be able to gather that. We'll be able to take the resource revenue mapping would be the first step of it. The second step would be designating it as an economic corridor, and then where it sits and what those specifics that transportation uses, I don't know that yet.
Okay.
But I think some of it they're working out, some of it they have already. Probably by the time we meet with transportation at the Alberta Munis, I can get some information from the minister or Parliamentary Secretary Sear, who's, again, a strong advocate for the North, used to live in Slave Lake. So him and I have been chatting quite frequently on kind of a bunch of new ideas. I think we need like a paradigm shift on the way we look at infrastructure and roads in Northern Alberta. And we have to, everything's got to be on the table when it comes to even our fiscal framework, which right now is a pretty good idea from former Finance Minister Travis Taze, which in a surplus year, we have legislative rules where we have a third goes to savings, a third goes to the debt, and a third goes to one-time infrastructure. And one of the challenges is, I believe, that could use a little bit of a tweaking with what is a good intended bill, is my understanding is that if projects maybe not shovel ready or there's a delay in the design, like 88 would be a good example, if that money was there, I don't think it stays there, and it might get sucked back into general revenue. And as most people would know, a big chunk of our budget just always gets sucked up by education and healthcare. So I would like to put forward, like, this is very early stages, but when I talk about a paradigm shift, I think there's a real appetite from both the Premier and caucus right now to be able to examine something different with either that as one part. A secondary idea would be when we have a barrel of oil above a certain threshold right now. We've been in the past lowering the taxes at the pump. This year we did the $100 rebate checks for households. I would like, because that number is so small, not to say $100 isn't nothing, and the barrel of oil fluctuates so much, I would prefer that went, if it was up to me, went straight to transportation and could not be touched by general revenue, and it stayed in like a investment account, so that if we didn't have a shovel-ready project on a surplus side ready, then it automatically had to go towards the deficit on maintenance, because they're two different funds. So 88, I don't know if it's $30 million, that's over here to be approved by Treasury Board, but every single year, Minister Dreeshen's been asking for more transportation dollars, and we've run into some challenges with other ministries, I'm sure, and budgeting. So I would like to see that money that stays in transportation, because we're all paying the fuel tax at the pumps. Yeah. It would be easier to communicate with people. I think everybody would be way more receptive to that idea anyway. At least they would see where the money goes up here for once. So
Okay.
Hopefully that answered your question.
Kind of, so the economic corridor is something new. But I think what it kind of
yes.
seems to do is that for those of us who live in rural areas, not just northern Alberta, but other places where we have something like the oil field, we've got a lot of heavy traffic, it would be an opportunity to change our highway designations to get some better maintenance. But it's new, so we're still kind of figuring it out.
Yes, and I would also say that I have very realistic expectations about what those markers would look like. I don't think Highway 88 will be designated as an A+, even if I
No,
thought
but
it
even
was
just
that
to
way.
bring us up
But,
like
yeah, just,
one
yes.
is that little bit extra, so.
I think baby steps right now, and whether it's resource revenue mapping or economic corridors or any kind of a change to the way they examine what happens in northern Alberta is a welcome change for us up here, because right now, and in years past, they have been kicking the can down the road on the maintenance side, so some easy preventative maintenance will now turn into replacement for highways. So that's only going to be more expensive projects. And then our big projects haven't been approved either. So we're kind of in a real, I don't want to say the wrong word here, but I think there needs to be a larger sense of urgency for how big of a deficit we have with our roads, not just in our riding, but in northern Alberta as a whole. And I've very politely also said that lots of times rural Alberta gets lumped in with northern Alberta, and I've been driving to a lot of my colleagues' ridings this summer, going to various Stampede events and other events. And I would say that, in my opinion, this is not factual, Central Alberta and Southern Alberta are not in the same boat as us when it comes to their level of urgency needed for their highways. I think it's specifically an issue with Northern Alberta right now. It doesn't need to be forever, but I think most people who drive in the area would agree with that, but I don't know if that answered that enough.
Okay, no, it does, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Councillor Hughes?
Yeah, I was just gonna say thank you very much and just make a motion to accept the MLA's update as information.
Appreciate that. Motion on the floor. Any further discussion? Call to question, those in favor? And that is carried. And we have a motion to go. Yes.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I don't know if this is proper protocol, but do you have any more of these in that fridge in the back?
Councillor Hughes?
Motion to go into closed session.
Motion on the floor. Any further discussion? Call to question, those in favor? And that is carried.
We will give you a case of those. Fill in the back of the truck.
Are we audio and video off yet? Okay, thank you. Audio and video aren't off yet, everyone. If you just We're ready now. No problem. Counselor Gramlich,
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
any further discussion? Called to question those in favor. And that is carried. Thanks, Andrew.